Cleveland recently received a shocking revelation. Additionally, neither the front office nor the media was the source this time. It was directly from Jeudy, one of the Browns' biggest talents. In a shocking turn of events, Jeudy finally spoke out about the team's continuing quarterback crisis, denouncing head coach Kevin Stefanski and staunchly supporting Shedeur Sanders. Reporters have hinted, fans have conjectured, and insiders have whispered for weeks, but nobody inside the locker room has dared to speak up. Jeudy didn't mince words till now. He publicly asked why Shedeur, a player who has performed flawlessly, is still unable to play. He criticized the coaching staff's lack of trust, politics, and confusion, particularly in light of Joe Flacco's departure and the quarterback room's seeming void. It's easy, Jeudy. Shedeur has merited it. Since OTAs, he has been there. He has been present each day. He has fulfilled all of the team's requests. Why is he still waiting then? At that point, the narrative shifts from sports to a more profound topic. Because it's not simply an annoyance when a seasoned, well-known receiver like Jeudy breaks ranks and goes public. It's a revolt. It's an indication that leadership is beginning to wane in the locker room. In a matter of hours, Jeudy's remarks took off like wildfire. Fans instantly took sides as social media erupted and analysts offered their opinions. He was commended by several for expressing what everyone had been considering. Others cautioned that it might start a full-fledged fight in the locker room. One thing is certain, though. Jeudy is not alone. In what is turning out to be the largest internal power shift the Browns have had this season, other celebrities are beginning to echo his remarks and subtly support Shedeur. What started as a straightforward quarterback question has grown into something far more complex, a test of commitment, initiative, and future-focused optimism. The more players who speak up, the more it appears like this is about who the club truly believes in, not just who starts, which makes the tension in Cleveland worse every day. The stress is beginning to show in the Browns' locker room. It all comes back to Shedeur Sanders, and what started as a silent annoyance has now become an unmistakable rift. Players like Myles Garrett and Jeudy, who are experienced, are on one side, publicly supporting the young quarterback and complimenting him on his maturity, commitment, and leadership skills beyond his years. Conversely, head coach Kevin Stefanski and certain members of his staff continue to maintain that Shedeur isn't prepared. Here's the problem, though. Everyone in the locker room is aware of the people who have been working hard. They witnessed Shedeur arriving before dawn, staying up late watching film, and gaining his teammates' respect the hard way. Some people find it unsettling, particularly those who believe Stefanski's preference is impeding the team's progress. The Browns are no longer only vying for victories, they're battling for solidarity. Because it's no longer just a football problem when players start taking sides. There is a leadership crisis. The veterans have had enough and will no longer remain silent. Jerry, the first person to go public, was Jeudy. But what he said revealed just how much respect Shedeur already has in that locker room. Jeudy didn't only stand up for him, he gave him a claim. He discussed how Shedeur has been there since OTAs, working hard when no one else was around, mastering the playbook, and consistently turning up prepared to compete. Shedeur is not a newbie learning the ropes in Jeudy's eyes. He is developing into a leader. One of the team's most renowned vocalists, Myles Garrett, then spoke. Garrett talked about meeting with coaches, watching film, asking questions, and seeing Shedeur in the building before anyone else. That kind of work is appreciated, particularly when it comes from a young quarterback entering a challenging atmosphere. Garrett put it best. He is constantly getting ready for his moment in the coach's office. These compliments aren't meaningless. People pay attention to what celebrities like Jeudy and Garrett have to say. They are currently expressing the belief held by supporters that Shedeur Sanders deserves his chance. In an attempt to defuse the quarterback issue, Kevin Stefanski said something that ended up making matters worse. He asserted that he made judgments based on player development and the team's best interests. However, it sounded more like damage control to observers and supporters. Stefanski maintained that Shedeur was not yet ready and was still learning. His behavior, however, conveyed a different message.
Quinn Shannon-Jenkins, who didn't even finish a full training camp, is one of the less prepared players he has been more willing to take a chance on while keeping Shedeur on the bench. It is now hard to overlook the discrepancies. Shedeur's constant work ethic, maturity, and leadership should have earned him more than clipboard duty if Stefanski really believed in letting players prove themselves. Rather, Stefanski's careful approach seems to be a cover for anxiety, an unwillingness to cede authority to a younger, shrewder, and hungrier person. The locker room also notices it. Stefanski isn't defending the squad each time he makes another evasive reason. He's splitting it up. The Browns are currently being torn apart by his preservation of the status quo. The media turned it into a firestorm when Kevin Stefanski believed that the pressure within the building was bad. Dan Orlovsky and other analysts immediately jumped right in, asking why Shedeur Sanders hadn't been selected as QB2, much less given an opportunity to start. Orlovsky saw it as a lost chance for a franchise that consistently fails to live up to its own potential. He wasn't by himself. The story was the same on social media, ESPN, and FS1. For what reason are the Browns waiting? Every press conference devolved into questioning. When Stefanski was questioned by reporters about the alleged growth plan, his evasive answers only served to enhance the headlines. Highlight reels of Shedeur drills, meanwhile, were widely shared online. Fans who are growing impatient analyze and praise every confident huddle moment and every pinpoint throw. Competing teams are beginning to take note. Scouts have reportedly been surreptitiously observing Cleveland's practices because they know that someone else will wake up if the Browns don't. The focus has shifted. Dillon Gabriel's role and Stefanski's system are no longer relevant. It concerns Shedeur Sanders and when he will be given the opportunity that everyone knows he deserves. In the Browns facility, what began as silent muttering has now evolved into outspoken annoyance. Formerly silent players are increasingly displaying overt anxiety in interviews, body language, and even at team meetings. Younger players are subtly siding with Shedeur Sanders, who has come to represent the change they desire, while some veterans have ceased concealing their disillusionment. Insiders say that practice sessions have become tense behind closed doors. The energy becomes louder, sharper, and more focused when Shedeur does repetitions.
But that enthusiasm quickly wanes when he is benched during scrimmage sets. Talent is no longer the only factor. It all comes down to belief and faith. Perhaps even more than the head coach, the locker room has faith in Shedeur. Stefanski, meanwhile, keeps insisting that everything is in control, but his voice sounds phony. The fact that this is more than simply a quarterback dispute is becoming evident. It's a complete crisis of identity. The Browns are torn between discipline and catastrophe. Furthermore, who starts as quarterback won't be the true question if this tension continues to rise. Who loses the locker room first will be the main focus. Although Cleveland supporters have always been fervent, they are now incensed. From a dispute in the locker room to a full-scale public uprising, the Shedeur Sanders case has evolved. One demand fills the comment sections of every social media post made by the Browns. Shedeur, get going. Fans are criticizing Stefanski for stalling the team's progress because they are sick of the same cautious strategy and are speaking out against him directly. Fan podcasts and local talk shows have evolved into battlegrounds. Frame by frame, analysts are repeating practice videos to contrast Gabriel's inconsistent performance with Shedeur's accuracy and poise. Every throw and every expression made by the sidelines is scrutinized. No coach can ignore the strain created by the fans screaming his name during games. Afterward, there is the merchandise. Despite Shedeur playing hardly any minutes, his jerseys are selling out faster than those of half the team's starters. The city has obviously selected its quarterback. Shedeur Sanders has become the focus of a fan movement, and the Browns' executive management is also under attack. The club might lose games and possibly the trust of a whole city if it continues to ignore the commotion. It takes more than just coaching judgment to keep Shedeur Sanders out of the game at this point. A ticking time bomb is present. It is felt by everyone, both inside and outside the Browns organization. The owner is looking for results. Change is what the supporters desire. Additionally, opposing scouts are chatting in the dressing area. According to rumors, Shedeur's availability has been the subject of discreet inquiries from a number of teams, including the Raiders and Falcons. Should he remain on the bench for Cleveland? What the Browns are unable to see, the league can. Shedeur has it. The traits that every team looks for in a quarterback are assurance, poise, and control. The Browns run the risk of making the same error they have for years and losing control of their future. If they do not take immediate action, Shedeur Sanders is more than simply a potential candidate. He is a potential game changer who is just waiting for his opportunity. And it will happen somewhere else if it doesn't in Cleveland. One thing is certain, a star cannot remain in the shadows indefinitely. The Browns have a limited amount of time, and their entire future may depend on their next choice. The Cleveland Browns are at a turning point in their history that could affect the team's overall course. These days, Shedeur Sanders is more than simply a name on the roster. He is the center of a locker room, the lifeblood of a fan base, and the plot that the entire league is following. Everyone knows his readiness, all except the man using the headset. Although Kevin Stefanski may be safeguarding his playbook with his cautious approach, his credibility is gradually being damaged. From the front desk to the supporters in the stands, you can sense the tension rising. Every week, Shedeur remains on the bench. The demands for change become more urgent, piercing, and unavoidable. If they finally give him the keys, the Browns might start something new, a comeback based on skill, vision, and leadership. But they won't just lose games, they will lose their future. Because football isn't the only thing going on in Cleveland right now. It has to do with faith. Have faith in the next guy and believe that the Browns still possess the guts to strive for greatness.